there's a big conversation, at least from most of like the different forums with different, delegate meetings and things that I've been to, is the influence of federal education dollars at the state, and then how it trickles down and some of the strings that are attached.
Yeah.
Where do you stand? What's your thought process on how that flow of money is occurring?
It sounds really easy, I think, to say we just need to cut ties with the federal government. I do think that needs to be studied and looked at. Would Utah be better off? I believe it represents about 9% of our education budget. So
growing. I think it keeps growing.
And it
right?
keeps growing. But yeah, I just think everything comes with strings when you take federal money. And so a lot of the books that are in question, curriculum, ideologies, surveys that are being written that undermine people in Utah's morals and beliefs. And we have laws on the book that say schools are not supposed to infringe on the rights of conscience or on beliefs. So federally, there's a lot different values than what we hold for the most part here dear in Utah, with our family values and our belief in religious liberty and not wanting to be under the control of one religion.
Do you think the federal government should have any like educational
I don't think
should funding go towards education in any way at the federal level from your perspective?
With the results that we're seeing with the federal government stepping in, I would love to cut ties. Yeah. I think we'd be better off if Utah took the reins of our own education system. I would love to have teams that really study that. And is it feasible? Can we do that? How could, I think it would take a massive army, but I think it would be worth it with the things we're seeing come down, especially in light of the Biden administration and the things that they're passing, the new restrictions and the way that they've changed Title IX to rewrite the definition of a woman to be someone who identifies as a woman. And Speaker Schultz just came out and said, we are going to sue. We're going to join the other states. So hooray for Speaker Schultz taking that on. So I hope our Attorney General's office and the state board and everybody will back this up. I think there are certain hills worth dying on. And I think protecting girls' sports and spaces is one of those places where we don't open up our locker rooms and showers and dorm rooms and field trips, that we need to be very careful about how we proceed with this.
Yeah.
And push back.
I think there's a lot of challenges with the federal government coming in and holding strings, but I can also see how, as a state board member, they're saying, here's, this whatever that $8 billion. They're like, here's $10 million. This is $10 million. You can do a lot with this $10 million, and you're having to say, no, I don't want that $10 million. Right. Well, how difficult that could be is a decision.
Yes. And when principals are faced, so I sat down, I'm on the community council and the PTA, and I feel the pain that the principals have to try to figure out things within their own budget. So there are surveys that they're giving to the children. Well, some of the surveys have concerning questions in them, which I've read and I'm concerned myself. But so
what's any weird,
for elementary school children, are you a boy, girl, or do you prefer not to say? Why are we presenting that idea to a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old?
Why do they care if they're a boy or a girl?
Yeah. So,
what's the point of the survey?
And different data on climate change. Are you safe at the dinner table? What are the conversations your parents have? There's crazy. There are questions about all different kinds of drugs. If you wanted to buy drugs, would you know where to get them? And then it lists all these different kinds of drugs. This is like the 6th and 7th grade survey. So the legislature's now made it, they passed a bill, and I don't know what the bill number is, but
what does that have to do?
Schools do not have to give these surveys. And now they're opt-in. They used to be opt-out. So if you followed the emails, you could opt your child out of the survey.
So they're automatically opted in, which seems already not the right way to do it.
Now you actually have to opt in. And so our principal, she was like, can you encourage your parents to opt into these surveys because it brings money? Because she feels the squeeze of not having enough in her budget. But the survey questions are concerning. So I'm like, why is this what's required to bring money into the classroom? Why aren't our schools funded well enough? I would like to see us not have to buy all these new curriculums and send money. I mean, it's so much money that goes to the people who are writing the books and writing the curriculum and vendors. And let's look at where the money's really going and how can we get it to our schools more. Our principal said she's seeing things this year in Little Valley, Utah, that she's never seen before. Rates of kids who don't have their utilities, they're homeless, they're hungry. Wow. Breaks my heart. school budgets where she's had her school lunch money budget $5,000 in the arrears in our school. And she said there's programs if parents would just reach out to us and let us know. But I think there's maybe a shame factor with it. Parents aren't filling out the forms. They're just not paying for the lunches. And then she's got to cover that with her own budget. It's, I don't know. It's so huge.
Yeah. So
I don't know, but I would love to see us treat the schools as individuals and meet with, come up with more solutions that help. But to think that they're actually doing laundry for some of the kids she said they've been taking some of the kids' coats that they can tell have never been washed and washing them during the day while the children are at school. They've got a food closet now at our school where they're sending lunches home. This is in Little Valley, St. George.
These are a lot of complex issues.
It is.
These are a lot of complex issues.
I feel for the teachers. I feel for the principals. They're dealing with so much more that they've never had to deal with, trying to figure these things out. It's not cut and dried one way or the other. And so I think, there's a lot.
Yeah. There's a lot of good things.
A lot of good.
There's a lot of good things.
And
we covered some good things. We covered a lot of not great things.
But there's a lot of great things. Great teachers who just want to teach their subjects, who love their kids, their students. There's a lot of great things to highlight, and that needs to be focused on too.
Yeah, and I think I'm skeptical of, like, when I see ratings of the schools, like even Vista. It's a charter school, and when you look at what their rating is, if you go to like a website, it's like, what are the best schools in Utah? Vista doesn't have like great ratings, and I'm like, I know a lot of those kids. I've spent a lot of time in volunteering for those kids. My wife spent a lot of time volunteering for the teachers and the kids. A lot of smart kids, a lot of great teachers. Yeah. My boys are learning quite a bit, and I see, through robotics and then the music capabilities and like all these amazing things that school does. It's like, you can't really trust what this like rating is of these schools. So, in Southern Utah or in Utah in general, I would say our public education system is actually excellent. It doesn't always show that way in these like public rating systems. I don't know how they come up with them a lot of times and how they're rating, but going back to these surveys and it seems like we've made this thing so complex, and and it is already complex. I think just in general, schooling kids in different, economic brackets and that the emotional things and the social things that you have to deal with in schooling. I get it. These are all complex things. So this job is not an easy one.
It's not,
especially since you have to run as an elected individual. Yeah. So it's there's a popularity contest element to it. Yeah. But you were very popular. So you won the delegate vote for the Republican Party like by 85%.
I did.
Which is for a challenger, is pretty amazing. So there's a lot of people that have talked to you and vetted you and feel like you would do a great job. So that was the main reason why I'm like, I got to talk to Joanne. 85% of the delegates to agree on that that's a big victory. What do you think? Is there one reason why, do you think?
I think people can sense that something's not going right. I mean, like I said, Utah has a lot of things going well. But I think the direction that our education system is, what they're focused on and where they're heading is not the right direction. I think my message has been, we need our Southern Utah values influencing that state school board, not having Salt Lake, East Coast values being shoved on us. And so I'm not running for like popularity or personality. I'm just running to serve. I want to have things made better. I want to raise the bar. I want us to focus on academic excellence. I want to bring teachers and parents together, because if we're working together, if we can get more involvement, positive involvement with the parents, like you said, volunteering in the schools is so huge. Yeah, and I feel so grateful that with my second set of children, I was able to do that at Crimson View and work with the teachers, try to take some of their load off. I helped do reading tests. I would come in and, make copies for the teachers. I just try to take some of the extra load off, because there's so much work to do. And when you're an elementary school teacher, you don't really have a prep period. You maybe have a little bit of recess but there's a lot of busy work that people don't see. You take your work home with you as a teacher. It's tiring and it's emotionally draining. I was a single mom when I was teaching, so I felt that. I feel for our teachers. But the more you can have positive partnerships with parents, not just the parents who are coming in because they're mad at you and you're, but helping their children learn. That's where we're going to find the best solutions. And I think that's why Utah has been stronger. Like we have strong families and I know Washington County especially, like you see it in our schools, that there's more parental involvement and it helps. But I think my message of just restoring patriotism and excellence, academics, focusing on academics and the children is what resonated. America is the greatest country in the world. And if we should teach our children that, and they should come out feeling proud to be American, not embarrassed by it.